Hello everyone, I am content creator Keskion and this is All the Juice, the podcast where I interview your favorite content creators and influencers to learn their juicy secrets, their stories, and their careers. Today we're gonna have a bit more special episode because many of you have requested me to do an episode about Keskion content creator, or basically myself. And since I could not interview myself in the question side, I decided that I would create a little game. So here I have 3 piles of questions. The first pile is more career and personal oriented. The second one is relationships and deep questions. And the third one are your questions. And what I did was create some papers here in this little bowl with the numbers. And I'm gonna be getting each number and reading the questions that are gonna be completely random. I'm very excited for this. I've never done this, so let's start. I am content creator Keskion, as I said in the introduction, but my real name is Laura, and I am a 25-year-old girl that has been living in Finland for the last 3 years. I'm originally from Spain, and that's a bit of the background. I started on social media in 2020 when I moved to Finland. It was just a bit random. I never had TikTok before, and I remember that just right before moving, I was with my roommates. They had already TikTok, and I was just like, oh no, I can't bother. It's just all those dances, because back then TikTok was mainly for dancing. So it was just so random, but they were always talking about all this gossip from people from TikTok and just doing the dances, and I was like, oh, I'm left out. So I decided to download it. And just a month after that, I moved to Finland, and I decided to come temporarily to Finland. So back then, I remember I was here for like 2 months or something like that when I decided to create a video talking about Finland. And it just completely blew out. It got super viral. I got on the first video already like 400,000 views. And it was just like mentioning the 5 things or the 3 things that I like the most about Finland. And back then it was for the Spanish market. Until nowadays that started my career in social media and my content creation about Finland. So now that you have a bit of context of myself, I'm gonna start with the game, and I'm gonna be answering your questions and other questions about my personal life, relationships, deep questions, etc. So you can get to know me a bit more. Let's do it. Let's see. Okay, this is a number 1. Number one. If you could hold on to one memory from your life forever, what would that be? Wow, we are starting strong here. If I could hold on a memory, I think it would be the moment that my parents told me that my brother would exist, like that they were having a baby. So yeah, I was 5 years old and I was in school, and I really don't like the cauliflower. And back then, I remember that every week in school we had cauliflower. And it was just horrible because at that moment I was going to a school, like a Catholic school. So then some teachers were nuns. Yeah, I know it's weird. Here it would never happen. But in Spain, it's still a thing, especially in like not public schools. So it was terrible. But yeah, the nuns wouldn't let me go to play with my friends after lunch just because I didn't finish the cauliflower. So I was very traumatized with the cauliflower, And I remember that day I decided like to throw it under the table. I was like, no, ain't no way I'm eating this. I cannot bother anymore. And my parents picked me up from school, and then they told me like, we arrived home and they told me, you need to sit down, we need to talk with you. And I panicked because I was like, oh, those nuns have told them that I threw the cauliflower under the table, And I was so like anxious that I confessed everything, like instantly. I don't remember that much the moment, but like my parents always explain me this story. And apparently, like, they just sit me down, and then I start crying, and I was like, I'm sorry, but I just don't like the cauliflower at all. And they were like, what are you talking about? So I just confessed for nothing. How is that possible? But anyways, then they told me like, no, it's nothing related to that. By the way, that's shit that you do that, but you're gonna have a little brother. And I was like, what? Because again, I was already 5 years old, which it's a considerable age difference, right? And I don't know, it just made me so happy because I was asking for a sibling for so long that it was incredible that I was able to. So yeah, I would hold on forever in that memory because I think it's very wholesome. Let's get the next one. Another 3. What are the must someone has to be your partner? Wow. Well, first of all, they have to be a good person. I know it sounds like, yeah, everyone would say that, no? But like, it has to be someone nice. Like, I don't like fuckboys. I don't like guys who are just like playing around and just messing with you and just mixing signals and all of that. Even though I used to like them. I mean, I also had that point in my life where I liked them. But no, not nowadays. I really like a person who can just bring me peace and make me happy and just like a balanced increment on the relationship, not a emotional roller coaster. That's something I really don't look for. Then I want someone who's very funny. Funny is, for me, is a must. I have to be able to laugh with this person and just like joke around and be able to be goofy and just bubbly and so on. And obviously it's not all the time gonna be like that, but it's important for me that I can have fun with my partner. So that's the second must. Then the third must would be someone who's ambitious, and like not ambitious in the sense of money wise, but who has some goals in life. And obviously we are all lost and we have many questions, and especially in our 20s, we really don't know what we want. But I like my partners when they know or they have some direction, like I like this, so I'm gonna try that. And then another quality, I would say someone who's patient. I am someone who's very impatient in general, so it really helps me to have someone by my side who's balancing me a lot and like to help me to be calm and so on. And it's just so funny because like whatever I'm gonna say, like I'm in a relationship. I've been over two, not yet, but almost 2 years in a relationship. And like anything that I'm gonna describe, it's my partner, obviously, because I'm in a relationship, no? But like, yeah, those are the things that I've been looking for in a partner, and 2 years ago I was fortunate to find it, even though at the beginning I was pretty scared. But yep, those are the most definitely. Next, another number 1. What's your favorite content type to create? So the thing is, like, since I started in social media, pretty much of what I've been doing, it's been the content creation around Finland. I have done different types. I've done like Finnish vocabulary. I've done like things that shocked me, just talking through the camera and so on. But I have to say that the ones that I enjoy the most are the ones that I do now about Finnish things that shocked me, just because they are skits. I have two people basically talking, and I just find it so entertaining to have the idea on how to create a conversation and script it and create the videos and so on. That's something that makes me happy. And now creating the podcast, this is something that I'm really enjoying because I never did that before. I never talked in front of a camera, obviously for TikTok, but not this long. I never had a mic in front of me, I never had guests. And I've been always so curious about other creators, how they got there and why they started and all of that and their personal life, that I felt like it came quite natural for me, like to do this podcast, even though I was terrified to do it. And I procrastinated for almost a year, but here we are doing it. So yes, my favorite content would be like the Finnish things that shocked me, skits, and now the podcast. And I would like, honestly, as I said already, for my followers on Instagram, I'm gonna be doing way more content nowadays that is not only focused in Finland, because the problem that I'm having is that I've been doing this all the time during the last 3 years. And although I really love it, there are times where I'm not as motivated about Finland or as happy, and I still need to create content. And I find it quite difficult to be inspired and to be creative when I'm not feeling Finland, you know? And then again, there are so many other areas in my life that I would like to show to people that, I don't know, I think it's time for me to start doing other things on top of Finnish content. I'm not gonna stop doing that because it makes me happy and I know you guys love it, but I think it's time. So next we have a number 2. Okay, let's see. This is scary. This is the scary one. What's one thing that people are generally surprised to find out about you? Wow. I think the thing that surprises the most to people is that I don't like chocolate. I know. You're all gonna kill me. Oh my God, you're gonna see this and you're gonna be like, excuse me? I know. I just cannot eat it. I find it so disgusting. I'm sorry. It's just because when I was a kid, I would try it and I would have like nausea, like literally. In some occasions, I even had like vomited it. So even now, the smell, I find it so disgusting, you know? But yeah, I think this is one of the things that surprises the people the most, that I don't like chocolate, you know? It's always like, you don't like... How are you so weird? It's usually that stuff. So, and number 3, more of your questions. Fuck. That's a hard one. What traumatized you? Boy, there are so many things that traumatized me. Like haha, but haha weird. It's funny weird, not funny haha. The first thing that traumatized me, it was definitely like elementary school. When I moved to Cordoba, it was quite a hard time in elementary school because the first year was still decent, but after the second year, like I started to suffer from bullying in school, and it went for many years, and it was not actually during the school period. It's so difficult actually to know, because the problem that I have is that I don't have memories from elementary school, and I know it's part of trauma, so it's actually a real trauma here, you know. It's not like just like no it's real shit here that I had to go to therapy to deal about. And now I definitely can talk about it openly, and I'm happy to do it. So I didn't suffer it during school per se. I suffered it in lunchtime. And it's quite weird because those people will go, most of them will go to my class too during the day. So I really have never known why, you know. But it took 5 years of constant, and sometimes it was verbal and sometimes it was physical, but as I said, I have very few memories about those years, so it's actually very difficult to know like how bad it got. I really don't remember. It was hard, and it caused me a lot of stress, and then I had a lot of physical repercussions because of that stress. So yeah, I feel like schools and teachers need to be a bigger part of that. And I was still fortunate that as soon as I got into high school, it went away because I didn't have to see that people anymore, you know, and I started to be myself. But it definitely defined also my personality. It was very critical years, of course. Yeah, it was hard. And it took me a long time to be able to I became a complete pleaser, you know, for people. And all my high school years, I was always trying to please everyone and trying them to like me. So it was very hard. And I really didn't work about it until I was already in university. I went to therapy for other reasons. I was feeling a lot of anxiety. And then this came up and we were working on that, and I'm so grateful I did, because back then I feel I couldn't talk about it at all. So yeah, those things happen to everyone. For me, it was just because I was very tall for my age, and yeah, even though you think all the Spaniards look like this, they don't. I was very brunette, I was very tall, I was a bit fatty, so that was a reason enough to do that to a kid. So it is what it is. We have a number 3, another of your questions. What brought you to Finland? What brought me to Finland? To be honest, I was completely lost. It was terrible. Like, now I laugh about it, but like, I came to Finland because I was running away, period. Like, it was definitely like that. I was not happy with my life. I had a job that made me really sad and that I made me cry almost every day. I was not valued at all, and just it was terrible. Like, just so you can understand, for the first month, my managers were calling me by a different name. Like, they didn't even know my name for the first month. When I was correcting them, they wouldn't care. So it was pretty rough, and I was just recent graduate. It was my first job, and yeah, it was 6 months. So I standed it as much as I could, but it definitely affected me so much emotionally. It was pretty tough, and at the same time, I was in a very emotionally draining relationship. So I just decided to run away for a few months, and my plan was just to come for 5 months. I came as an au pair. I wanted to improve my spoken English. Funny enough, here I am doing a podcast in English nowadays. So I'm very happy. I'm proud of myself in that sense. But yeah, I came. It was supposed only to be 5 months, but I really liked it here. I found a job in my field, so I decided to stay. But that's the main reason that brought me to Finland. Okay, and number 2. Oof. Oh my god. What is the weirdest date you ever had? I had a date with a guy here in Finland, and it wasn't a bar, it was a normal date. Just I found it like he was just all the time acting super weird and being like fuckboy vibes, and then he would just like strongly barb, and like I remember there were 2 girls in the table next to us, and they were looking at me like, wow, I'm sorry for you. He was acting such like a dickhead, honestly. It was just so bad. But yeah, that was weird. Okay, another number 2. What are some unhealthy traits about yourself that you'd like to change? Oh, I think the thing that that is unhealthy for myself is how hard I am on myself. When things are hard, or when things are not happening as I would like, I'm very, very hard on myself. I feel like failing. I feel like super imposter syndrome. I feel like I'm not good enough of those things. And I know it's just because of how I grew up. I've been always super hard on myself. I had to have the best grades, and I feel like it's also about the environment, obviously. But it was super hard in that sense, and when I don't achieve the things at the first time, or when I get rejected and so on, I had a hard time on that sense. And this year has been super good for me. I started to receive rejections, and I took them so personally, like it would literally affect my emotions. And then it really helped me to learn that it's not personal, that it's a job process, that it's not because you may be the best or you may not be the best, but you are not what they are looking for, And that has helped me a lot to how to deal with those things. I'm still very hard on myself, but I'm definitely working on that. Okay, another one. It's the number 2. Chan chan chan. Have you ever moved on from a friendship? Yes, I feel like when you become an adult, you need to move on from friendships, because there's people who you become friends with when you are young, when you are in high school, when, I don't know, like when you're a kid, and then you just grow in different ways, like you grow apart, and you don't have the same values, you don't have the same hobbies, the same mentality, and sometimes you will stick as a group just because you're friends from school, but in reality you would have never become a friend of that person as an adult. And I feel like it's so difficult to move on from those friendships, but I've done it, and it has definitely helped me, the fact of moving to another country. Like, you also distance yourself from people. It happens. Obviously, the real friends and the ones, they will stay there, but it's a easy way. And then I also move on from friendships that were not good for me, or that I felt that they were not treating me as a real friend or as I deserve, or especially if I have done and I have helped them a lot. And it's obviously hard, especially when they have been very close friends, or like people who you felt your family. But at the end of the day, you have to think on your mental health and what is better for your life. And even though it's hard, it's better to have the conversation and get closure and just move on from friendships that are really either not friendships or are not good for you in that point of your life. So yeah, I've done it. It's hard, but it gives you peace of mind eventually, even though it hurts. And on number 2, oh my god, I hate this file so much. They're so fucking deep questions. And I've done them myself, yes, but not for myself. I've done them for my guest. Jesus. Have you ever had a fling, dated another content creator or influencer? Yes. My boyfriend, and I'm so proud of him. Yes, he's an influencer. Well, he doesn't like it. He's a content creator. He has a YouTube channel with other true friends, and they have a company, and they are doing so well. They actually live from content creation. I'm just doing this for fun at the moment, but they actually work on that, and they live from that. And yes, it's fun. But I didn't know he was a content creator. I just learned about it in our first date. It was quite funny, honestly. Another number one. What are you not very good at? I am not good at so many things, honestly. I'm bad at conflict. I'm super bad. If you raise your voice, I'm gonna cry. If you reject me, I'm gonna cry. It's just terrible. I'm so bad at it. I really need to work on that, honestly, because it's freaking terrible. Like, we will have a discussion. You will tell me, like, Laura, you disappointed me, and I'm gonna be crying for 2 days. Or like, Laura, I didn't like that. I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry. I'm so bad at that. Jesus. Another 3. Have you had any regrets about moving to Finland? Yes. When I moved here, I really needed to get away. As I said, I was running away, and I decided to stay. And the first year, I was in a complete bubble, and everything was amazing and so on. And people were telling me, like, you're in a bubble. The time that it explodes, it's going to explode hard. And I was like, no. I was in a bubble, and it happens when you move to a new country. At the beginning, everything is super exciting. It's hard, but it's exciting. And then once you start building your routines and so on, and the bubble explodes, obviously it's hard. Have I had regrets? Yes, I had regrets. Would I go back to Spain? No, not at the moment. So the thing is, like, I feel like I haven't lived everything I have to live in Finland yet. But I would like to try to live somewhere else before deciding where I want to spend the rest of my life in. And Finland brings me a lot of good things, but it's also very hard when you're a foreigner. It's a very, very tough country, and you have to be very resilient and very strong mentally, especially to be here. So yeah, I had them, and I still have sometimes. And lastly, we have another number 2. If you could go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be? I think it would be like, it gets better, and you need to look up for yourself, because you are the person who's gonna be with you for the rest of your life. So you're gonna have to love yourself the most. You cannot put anyone before you, because you will have to live with yourself forever. And if you don't love yourself, it's gonna be a very tough life. So that's definitely the advice that I would give myself, and to be patient, because everything will be sorted out and things will get better and you'll be happier. So yeah, definitely that one. And now, to close the podcast, as you know, I always ask for the juicy secrets for my guests, and I'm not gonna be an exception here either. Mika, do you wanna come to rate it? because I cannot rate it myself.
Okay, so I'll be the judge for your juicy secret. And remember, I got a, what was it, 7 or 6.5?
It was a mistake.
One of the worst scores on the podcast, so let's see what you will be getting.
And it was a mistake. You should have deserved like a 7.5 or something like that. I'm sorry.
Was it a 6.5?
I think it was a 6.5.
Okay, let's see what you'll be getting. I'll be very neutral.
No, I'm terrified now.
Let's hear the juicy secret.
When I was maybe 14, 15, I went out one night. I was living in the mountain in Cordoba, so I would have to get the bus at 9 p.m. And I was already like, no, it's so early, blah, blah, blah. So my friend and my parents allowed me to sleep at a friend's place, okay? So we went, we were supposed to go meet our friends and so on, but what we did was actually what we call in Spain botellón, which is basically we went to a park or to a space where everyone would be drinking with their own drinks, like they would buy their drinks, not they, but like the orals in the shop and so on, and they will give it to you. So we were drinking there. I was having red vodka with orange Fanta. Terrible.
Sounds terrible.
And I had 2 drinks or so on, and then I was super drunk, to be honest, like just by 2 drinks. Like my alcohol tolerance is very low, and it's always been low, like it's always been minimal. So what happened was that we were having drinks there, blah, blah, blah. I was flirting with a boy, and he liked me, and I liked him, and so on. And it was also one of the reasons why I wanted to go to that place, you know. And then we were going back to my friend's house. And once we were at my friend's house, we were in the bedroom, and it was like maybe 12 or something like that. We got there, we were talking, and then I started to feel super sick. And then I just suddenly puked. I was sitting on her like work chair, and it was one of those textile one.
Oh, no.
And all the puke was on the chair, and then she told me like, don't puke here. And I stand, and she was living on a 3rd floor, and I puked from the window.
So first on the chair and then from the window.
And we woke up her parents, and they came and they saw me puking, and my friend was puking too, not because she was drunk, but because she was disgusted by my puke.
So you were both throwing up in the room.
And the parents were so mad to us, and I was just like, no, they're gonna tell my parents, And bro, it was like, I literally was so ashamed. They never told my parents, but I didn't go to her place. She was my best friend. I didn't stay, and I didn't even go to her place for a year. No jokes. I was terrified and so embarrassed to see her parents, you know, because they literally had to take that chair somewhere to be clean.
Yeah.
Because I puked there just by 2 freaking red vodka drinks. Yeah, and nobody knows it. Honestly, it's the first time I explained this story. You didn't even know about this. No. I'm so embarrassed about it. It's the first time I ever puked because of alcohol.
Yeah.
Not the last though, unfortunately. So, how juicy was it? I mean, it was juicy. I can tell you, it was the juices. I vomited a lot of them.
All kinds of juices.
Yes.
It's pretty embarrassing.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm gonna have to give it a 6.4.
No, it's not a 6.
It's 6.4.
I'm such a bitch. My story is at least an 8.
Okay, 6.5.
Fucking 6.5, bros. Can you believe this? I cannot freaking believe this. Oh my god. Thank you everyone who has been here. I hope you have liked it. If you had, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's gonna be super helpful for me to keep creating content. And just like, comment, share it to your friends, and let me know your thoughts. We will see each other again in 2 weeks with a new guest.